Sports Network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hey, Ty. What day is it, Ty?
It's hump day.
It's hump day. Welcome into the Wednesday edition of Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartell. And we have a good Wednesday for you today. Penny DeShields, head coach of the West Branch Warriors volleyball team, will come on at 12:45. We missed her last week. We're getting her right back this week. And we'll talk about her 300th win as a coach in the program. We'll also talk a little bit about Cindy Mercer because she's up for Big Dogs of the Valley this week, and maybe the coach can get some people to vote. We'll check in with the voting numbers maybe before we get her on and see where we're at. Ty, I won yesterday. Just pointed out there. You know, I got the Price is Right challenge on Tuesday. We should make that a weekly thing, by the way. I really liked that whole segment. I liked doing the Price is Right challenge where we each pick a bar. You're muted, just so you know.
Able to do it on the show now. Now it ain't stopping me anymore and booting me off with the sound things. We're able to fix it whenever my laptop decides to mute my mic for any unforeknown reason, but we got it unmuted now. And yeah, it was a great segment. YS Nation really showed up. Over 1,000 votes in the time before our show ended. So it was actually really nice to see how many people showed up.
They're blowing that up. I want to remind everybody, go to ysnlive.com and vote for the Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley. Voting is unlimited and it goes until Saturday. Also want to remind everybody that the comment section, brought to you by Boardman Mitsubishi, is live. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch, you can leave us a comment. We would love to hear from you on this Wednesday edition of Running Point. We have some recaps to do. It was a busy Tuesday night and the first, we'll just go down the list. We have Western Reserve keeping the top spot in the MVAC with a sweep over Mineral Ridge. Your scores were 25-23, 25-14, 25-19. If Mineral Ridge would have won this game, the MVAC would instantly be chaos because there would be a three-way tie at the top. And I believe none of those teams were scheduled to play each other again this year. So they have all played each other twice. So if Mineral Ridge got the win, Mineral Ridge would have had split with Western Reserve. McDonald would have split with Mineral Ridge, and McDonald would have split with Western Reserve. So all three of them split with a couple of weeks left in the MVAC. We could have been looking at a three-way tie at the end of the season. It was not to be, though. Western Reserve flexed their muscles a little bit and swept the Rams in 3. And their offense was in large part because of Baird Brothers Big Dog nominee, Olivia Hughes. She got 13 kills on the night, and she also had 8 digs for defense. Angelina Capabianca, 9 kills on the night for her. And then Allie Jones led the defense for the Blue Devils, 15 digs. For the Rams, Ava Hewlett, 7 kills, 8 digs. Samantha Aulette, 18 assists for the Rams. And Olivia Booth, 5 kills, 4 digs. Western Reserve, they're back in action on Thursday as they host Lowville. Mineral Ridge returns home Thursday as they host Waterloo. So what could have been a very chaotic situation, Western Reserve kind of puts down quick, and now it's kind of Western Reserve's in the driver's seat handedly. And all they have to do really is take care of business the rest of the season against teams that they've already beaten this year.
Western Reserve should be able to do that, as Western Reserve very solid program, and I mean they've been looking good all year. It doesn't look like they're going to slow up anytime soon.
And we don't want to take anything for granted because we know sports are crazy and anything can happen. So if a team kind of throws a monkey wrench into the MVAC and ends up knocking off Western Reserve, then we go back to that crazy logjam situation because Western Reserve only has a 1-game lead over McDonald, and it would actually be a 2-way tie because obviously Middle Ridge drops the game. So McDonald is 8-2 in the league, 9-2 after last night. Middle Ridge is 7-3, and then Western Reserve is 9-1. So just 1 game separates the two, and now McDonald just hoping for some help if they want to get a tie in the MVAC. And are we shocked at all, by the way, that it's coming down to Western Reserve and McDonald?
No, not at all. And I think Western Reserve and McDonald are always those two teams in volleyball. It seems like, and in basketball, women's sports is very prevalent there with those two. And I mean, it seems like these two doing battle on that court, whether it be volleyball or basketball.
After dropping the first set, Beaver Local gets the 4-set win over OVAC rival Brook. The scores there 21-25, 25-21, 25-22, 25-19. Very competitive match between these two. You look at the Beavers. Brooke Talbot continues to have a good season for them. Sarah Lowe had this quote to say, this is definitely one of the strongest Brooke teams we have seen in a long time. So she gave some praise to Brooke and Beaver Local's ability to bounce back from adversity. And then you look at Cody Kinsley, 19 digs. Leah Ricardo had 12. So a lot of good defense. Actually, 3 Beavers with double-figure digs on the night. So the Beavers were playing good defense. They had enough offense. They're 13-1, and they hit the road for 4 straight matches, starting with a trip to Winningest. Hey, where did the Springfield Tigers play?
Yeah. It's it's funny until you're the one that the shoes on.
You're the one.
Where do you live, Anthony? Where do you live?
Boardman. It was also Beaver. Whatever.
Absolutely. As Coach Lowe doing a great job with the program and Beaver Local over there and the Beavers. So
Lowville gets a win under their belt. That was their 6th win of the season. They took down Waterloo in straight sets. The scores 25-16, 26-24, 25-18. Sammy Kelly led the way, 26 assists on the night, 7 aces. That's a big number in service aces. Haley Cutter had 3 kills and 3 blocks. And Sammy Moore led the defense, 14 digs on the night for her. Sydney Price also had 3 kills. Lowville will play at Western Reserve on Thursday, as we said before. So Lowville gets another win. We talked to Coach Kelly earlier in the week, and that's a program that we believe in and starting to build things, starting to get some wins under their belt. And they're a young team. They're going to be reloading next year as well. So watch out for Lowville, not just this year, but in the future. Hey, it's another milestone day for us. It feels like milestones are just hitting us left and right in this kind of, I don't know if you want it, the last stretch of the volleyball season, last couple of weeks, but Tori Long, she joins the party, 1,000th career dig on Tuesday night. The Clippers won a thriller over Southern in 5 sets, 19-25, 25-19, 25-21, 15-25, 15-13. Tori Long had 9 kills and her 100th dig. She finished with, I should say 1,000th, not 100th. She finished with 29 digs on the night. Julia Rapp led the offense with 15 kills. Another Baird Brothers Big Dog nominee, by the way, in Julia Rapp. She had a great night. Cameron Perkins set up the offense with 15 assists. Columbiana, they're going to play Lisbon on Thursday in EOAC game, and it is the Dig Pink night in Columbiana. So make sure that if you're a part of Clipper Nation you wear your pink to that game and you get out and you support the fight against breast cancer, as it will be the first day of October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month as well. So obviously, someone in Columbiana's marketing department knew that they were playing a game on the 1st of October and decided to make that the pink game. Very smart, very fortuitous timing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always nice whenever you put a little theme to a game too, and it's going to make it a little bit more interesting and a lot more enjoyable, I think, too, for the fans that do decide to go out and go support their teams.
We've seen several of these, and I think it's really cool when you see two teams that, yeah, usually it's a league game when you put together one of these, special event nights, when both teams come together and both teams kind of support this event and hold it up. I think it's just really cool to see. I think it's almost something a little bit unique to volleyball. Basketball usually doesn't have like a pink game. Usually it's volleyball having the pink, volley for the cure, whatever they want to call it. And I really like this idea that both teams come together, they both wear pink, and they both kind of support this kind of bigger than volleyball issue.
Yeah, it's almost reminiscent of times what we see in professional sports too. Jackie Robinson Day, a perfect example of that with baseball too. And I mean, it's something you love to see, and it just goes to show that there are more important issues than sports. And of course, sports should be a distraction from real world events, but every once in a while. Real world events do have to bleed into sports, and I know how many times people dislike that, and we do see it especially a lot now. It feels like in the world of professional. However, there are some cases where it means something too, and it actually is a really really cool experience. And I think this is another one of those situations where we see it. And I mean, another one of those situations where even in the high school realm, we talk about Jackie Robinson Day with majors. You talk about the high school realm, look no further than Toronto and Lisbon earlier this season, about teams that could come together for something that's more important than sports. Because as much as sports is a great distraction from the real world, sometimes you need it to coincide with the real world, and everyone needs to heal and everyone needs to feel something for once. And I think this is another example of just that happening. And I think it's a really cool thing that both teams are going all out for it.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up the fact that one of the discussions in the sports world is we want sports to be an escape, and we don't want the real world to kind of leak into it. But at the end of the day, you can't avoid it. Like, sports are involving human beings, and at the end of the day, you're just never going to avoid the real life situations bleeding into sports. We see it in high school, we see it in college, we see it in professional, and it's cool when communities come together for moments like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's so many out there too, especially at the high school realm, when you kind of take the money out of sports and you take the murky waters out of the professionalism, and you see it is literally just high schoolers just going out there playing their sport to the best of their ability. But I mean, they're doing it for each other and they're doing it for themselves simultaneously. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see too. And you could see it and how the communities rally behind them, because they can truly see how wholesome something like that is.
McDonald gets the win to keep pace with Western Reserve. Once again, we talked about it. They are one game back of the Blue Devils, and they've already played twice. So McDonald just hoping that they can keep pace and someone will throw a monkey wrench into the Western Reserve season and get them a tie in the MVAC. So McDonald won over Springfield in 3 sets, 25-20, 25-14, 25-8. The Blue Devils were led by Maria Razil. She had 7 kills on the night. Gianna Constantino and Madison Srock both had 6 kills. Megan Klockner had another double-double on her season. She had 15 assists, 12 digs. For the Tigers, Madison Lesnack had 6 kills. That led the offense. Sam McKim had a pretty good night on defense, 22 digs for her. And Gianna Pachuta had 8 assists. McDonald will stay in the MVAC Thursday. They travel to Jackson Milton, and Springfield will also be on the road as they travel to Sebring tomorrow on Thursday as well. So, McDonald keeping the status quo. That's what you got to do with this situation. If you're McDonald, you have to just win, you control what's under your control. Can't get into scoreboard watching. Is something that we talk about a lot in the big boy sports when you're nearing a playoff spot and you need someone to lose. You can't scoreboard watch. You just got to do your job and execute your job, control what you can control. And if Western Reserve happens to lose at some point, then you can say, hey, we tied them. But if not, then you can say we were right behind them one game back and go into the tournament with momentum.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's obviously a goal I would think for McDonald, but I think the bigger goal right now is getting the team ready for the tournament because I think there's a bigger prize that both Blue Devils have their eyes set on. And of course, yeah, you can't scoreboard watch because if you get too far into that, you're going to start making mistakes on your end. So it's very and vitally important that you just worry about yourselves, making yourself better, making your team better because there's a tournament coming up here real soon. And we're going to see who the best of the best are.
Yeah, and you said it. You got to be the best that you can be at tournament time, and the scoreboard watching will not help that cause. So you look at Crestview. They lost their first set in almost a month on Monday against Brookfield. How'd they respond? Well, they went to Newton Falls and they swept the Tigers handedly, 25-12, 25-23. So that second set got a little hairy, and then 25-9 in the third. So Crestview did away with any demons they had in that second set real quick. Lucy Montgomery, hey, shocker, she earned a double-double. She seems to have a lot of those lately. 16 assists, 12 digs for her. Grace Hour led the team in kills, also had a double-double with 12 kills, 17 assists. Abby Emsch and Shelby Rambo both finished with 10 kills. Emsch, though, on the net, the season high for the freshman, 7 blocks on the night for Emsch. She continues to impress in her freshman year. And Crestview will be on the road on Thursday. They have been on the road all week. They travel to Camel. Newton Falls will travel to Garfield. So both teams on the road next. But man, Crestview just continues to fill that stat sheet up. 2 Rebels get double-doubles. Abby Emsch gets 10 kills, 7 blocks. And then you have Shelby Rambo doing her thing in the middle when Abby Emsch rotates out of the front row. So a lot of good things happening in Crestview and that volleyball program.
Yeah, absolutely. And Crestview looking really good, and I don't see them taking their foot off the gas pedal anytime soon. They're going to be very, very tough to beat in this tournament.
The only thing that kind of, I think Crestview fans should, keep an eye on is the fact that South Range and Mooney will both be in that district. Now, it's going to be a super district, so we don't know what bracket they'll be in, obviously. But those are 2 teams that they can always be kind of monkey wrenches in Division 3 because the schedules they play go way out of Division 3. You know what I'm saying? Like South Range is playing Girard twice a year, Lakeview twice a year, Boardman, Mooney, yada yada. And then Mooney's playing obviously their schedule, which is ridiculously hard. A lot of Division 1 teams on that end. So you have 2 teams that find themselves in Division 3, but definitely not playing Division 3 schedules. And those are probably the 2 biggest threats to Crestview in the district tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have to see come tournament time if those 2 teams cross paths, who comes out on top.
Also, keep an eye out for Cardinal. They won the other Division 3 district last year, so you can't discount them if they end up in the same bracket as Crestview as well. Hubbard, they had a thriller with Poland. It went 5 sets, and the Eagles pulled it out as they win 25-15, 21-25, 25-20, 25-15. No, wow, there's so many scores. I got caught up. Let's go back to the beginning. 25-15, 21-25, 25-20, 22-25, then 15-12. So 5-set thriller. Hubbard comes away with it. And leading them was Peyton Slavesco. She was a nominee last week for Big Dogs of the Valley. She had a fantastic 22 kills. Delaney Panagal led the defense with 30 digs. And listen to this stat. Paige Reed might have had one of the best nights we've seen from a setter in the area all year. 41 assists on the night for Paige Reed out of Hubbard. That's astronomical number for assists in a set. I get it was a 5-set match. That kind of helps, but 41 is still a big number for a setter to get.
Yeah, that's a huge number, and I mean, it just kind of goes to show how really efficient the offense was rolling that you were able to get that many together in one match. That's incredible.
It helps when you can get half of them to the Peyton Slavesco, 22 kills. More than half of those assists came from her. Sarah Forsyth had a great game for Poland. She finished the night with 15 kills. Lexi, I got to say this slow. Kali Katzaros had double-figure kills with 12. Madeline Ray led the defense with 20 digs. And Morgan Bailey had 13 assists. Both teams have South Range next on their schedule, believe it or not. Hubbard will wait a week. They are off until next Tuesday. They will travel to South Range. That'll be the Raiders' senior night, by the way. Poland has South Range at home on Thursday, so both teams looking ahead to South Range next. Hubbard has a week off after this big monumental momentum-bringing win. I know coaches can't, decide where the weeks off in their schedule come, but after you win a momentum-swinging win like that, I'm assuming that you'd want your kids to be right back on the floor.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be
in a perfect world. I mean,
yeah, and it's gonna show a lot of character to see how they're gonna be able to respond after having to wait a little bit, refocus for the next one, because we know the next one's gonna be no pushover, and we already know what the South Range Raiders are playing for this season. So it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup for them.
Yeah, and sometimes we forget these weeks off for volleyball are very important for the coaches, for the team to kind of assess where they're at and fix things. Because for the first time all season, they're going to get consecutive nights in the gym to practice. You think of a volleyball schedule, you're playing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Saturday. And you also, usually most volleyball teams don't practice on Friday because it's football night. You want to get them to the games. And if you do practice, it's a shortened one right after school. So you look at that and you're thinking, if you don't play on Monday, then you have that day to practice, but then you're playing games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, most weeks. And then Saturday you have a game too. You don't get a lot of gym time. You just don't. So now you have a week to kind of assess where you're at, look at the tape, and really have a week to iron out your team before the last stretch of the season goes and you're getting ready for tournaments.
Yeah, and we'll have to see. I'm curious to see how teams are going to take this last few weeks of the season before tournament time, especially in the volleyball realm, because it's really going to be a matter of different strategies, and you're going to see different coaches utilize different things. Maybe some starters don't play as much. Maybe some bench players play more because of injuries. Maybe starters get playing time because you don't want the starters to be rusty. Maybe the team doesn't play at all and tries to get rid of games because of COVID concerns. I mean, you never know in this very, very odd world that we're in right now. Because you got to remember, if a team picks up COVID a couple of days in before the end of the regular season, could cost them the entire tournament. Then could cost them the entire first round, because I believe OHSAA is already established. If you got COVID in the tournament, you forfeit.
Yeah, you're done, and the team moves on. We thankfully last year we didn't see that in volleyball actually,
which is very impressive, and knock on wood that we still see that. Too.
Last year, none of our area volleyball teams had to miss tournament time, but we saw that in a couple of football teams and then a couple of basketball teams as well come tournament time. But luckily for volleyball, for whatever rhyme or reason last year, none of the teams had to shut down come bracket time. So hopefully we get that again. We definitely don't want to see any teams have to forfeit a tournament game for COVID reasons, especially the ones that are having such a phenomenal season. That would be a heartbreaking.
Yeah, and I mean, you never want to see a season end in a cough or a whimper per se, especially with something like that. I mean, you can just ask to certain teams, football wise, that had to go through it, and it's not a great time. It's not a great feeling to get pulled out of a game that you didn't even get a chance to play.
And that's why, I mean, these teams, especially once again, the ones that are really well coached and taking volleyball extremely seriously. They're not putting themselves in risky situations. They're wearing masks at school. They're not going out, things like that. They're sacrificing to make sure they're staying healthy. So props to them. and we definitely we hope it works out. But back to the point of the week off, that's why a lot of volleyball teams have that week between the end of the regular season and tournament, so they can have that week of practice that you do not get at any point in the season. You never get 5 consecutive nights in the gym to practice in volleyball. It's really important, and a lot of teams will have that before bracket play starts.
Yeah, and we'll have to see which teams really take advantage of it and which one really pays off in the end, because there's risks to that even too, because practicing with your own teammate 5 times a week, yeah, you guys all are sharing the same germs pretty much anyway, but you also got to hold each other accountable and say, where are you guys going outside of school and outside of volleyball that you got to worry about too within the own team? Because if a teammate goes somewhere, maybe pick something up, that could even do it. It's an unfortunate time to be in sports and coming up on playoffs, because it's just an unfortunate thing that we have this pandemic still going on, that we don't know if anything's going to get pulled out from under the rug from us. But like, again, we just hope that all area teams are able to get all their games in for the tournament, and we really could have a decided winner, not any not that you want to use excuses, but there was definitely room for people to make arguments last season in the football realm, because there were some teams that were completely taken out of the football scene going into playoffs and deep into the playoffs too. So we'll see, obviously, how it goes. But part of being a great team is also, just a little bit of luck though too. It's a little bit of luck and a whole lot of skill. Sports are, and sometimes you need a little bit of luck to help out, and hopefully all teams stay healthy.
Ty, let's talk some soccer, because we have a big matchup on the horizon. It was set up by South Range's 4-0 win last night over Hubbard. They have won 7 of the last 8. Scoring goals for the Raiders was Camden Thomas, Logan Butcher, and Caden McConnell. They all scored goals. The Raiders have won 7 of 8. They're on a hot streak, and next they have state-ranked Poland. And actually, I think number 1 in the state, Poland, after Howland lost last week. That is on Thursday at South Range. Monumentous matchup on the soccer field, not just in the NE8, but in the state.
Yeah, and Poland's going to be a tough team to knock off too. It'll be interesting to see. We already seen how tough Poland has been this season too in the soccer realm. I'm excited to see what they're going to be able to do.
Speaking of Poland, they set up that matchup too, and they won 11-0 over Jefferson last night. Noah Huda scored 3 goals. Joey Ibaris scored 2. Carson Maurer scored 1. Joseph Highland scored 1. Cameron Delasio scored 1. Aiden Davis scored 1. And Aiden Wire scored 1. So it was this goal. It felt like Oprah. You get a goal. You get a goal. Everybody gets a goal. They had a great night. The assist went from Antil, Noah Huda, Chris Denny, Joseph Hilliard also got an assist. South Range once again on the next horizon for the Poland boys. 11-0. That's a daunting number. When you're South Range and you're looking at Poland's last game, you're saying they won 11-0. That's like Poland sending a statement a little bit to South Range, who they play next.
Yeah, when you put up 11 goals on anybody, it's pretty impressive, and that's the case here with Poland, as it's definitely sending a message to the Raiders, I feel like, ahead of game time.
Before the season started, we talked to Brian Garkar, and he brought up the fact that they lost a lot. They lost a handful of seniors last year, and everyone was saying, "How's Poland gonna be?" But he reminded us that he returns a lot too. It was one of those fortuitous situations where they had a lot of seniors last year, but they had a lot of good juniors too that are returning for senior leadership. Noah Huda, Wyatt Bobby, just to name a couple. You got you said it in our last conversation, a little bit of luck on where the classes fell. You're losing a lot of seniors. A lot of times when teams lose that many seniors, they're gonna try to get leadership from young guys the next year or inexperienced guys. It didn't work out that way for Poland this year.
Yeah, and Poland doing one of those things where they're just able to reload And I mean, you love to see it too when young guys step up and the old guys that are still there are able to take the younger guys out of their under their wing and kind of make them maybe a year or two better or a year or two ahead of schedule of what they would have originally been. That's just great leadership over there in Poland. And you see in the Bulldogs kind of weathering the storm and what we thought was going to be a little bit of a down year for the Bulldogs after everything they lost last year. But that's not the case at all, as Poland continues to be as strong as ever and continuing to reload, it looks like.
Remember last week we talked to Eric Simeon, the head coach of Boardman boys soccer, and he said they had a week off. It was a week that he thought was very fortuitous for his team to refocus after the big win over Howland. They get the 3-0 win over Warren Harding in Mollenkopf Stadium. And I think he was right. A very fortuitous week off. They seem to have regrouped and put all their focus in the Warren Harding. They have another great defensive game, and they win 3-0 over the Raiders.
Yeah, that's incredible too, and seeing what they were able to do, big win too over the Raiders. As anytime you're able to win in that beautiful Mollenkopf Stadium, I feel like it's a little bit of an accomplishment. Beautiful stadium they have over there in Warren Harding.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. And he said it in that conversation. It's kind of been a bugaboo venue for the Boardman soccer program. He said they've had some bad luck there in years past, and he was kind of, nervously confident in his team. Like he still felt the ghost of the past, I felt like a little bit. So he shrugs those off, and Boardman gets a 3-0 win.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a huge win too, as it's going to continue building momentum for a Boardman team that looks red hot right now.
Oh, do they ever look hot as they come off the win over the then first ranked Howland Tigers, and they get the win over Warren Harding. How about this? This is a really cool story. Jackson Milton has a co-ed team, and they were able to beat Newton Falls last night 1-0. Big moment for their program. Obviously, numbers are down a little bit, and they have to have boys and girls play together. Josh Donaldson had 4 saves, not the baseball player.
He's not here on the high school realm.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he went back in time.
Co-ed doesn't allow over 18, so it's just boys and girls. It's not adults too. Josh Donaldson from baseball couldn't have a second career in soccer.
Jackson Milton is 5-4-1 on the year. They go to Brookfield Thursday night as they face off with the Warriors. Impressive season put together so far from a Jackson Milton program that is obviously down in numbers and is trying to patch together a team.
I want Josh Donaldson to play every other sport but baseball, just to be a running joke right now. I want him to play every other sport that's available.
He golfs for Jackson Milton too, so
that's amazing. That's incredible too. We need to bring him on too with Brian Tolnar sometime. That's what we'll need to do.
Because we've had this joke before when talking about Jackson Milton golf.
I feel like we have too. I think I remember having this joke. But that's still nonetheless impressive for Jackson Milton that they were still able to make a program and still be able to build a program and get these kids an experience in soccer.
All jokes aside, I think it's really impressive to focus on 2 sports in a season. I mean, to play golf and soccer at the same time. That means your time management skills have to be through the roof.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, you also have to be a student on top of all that. So don't forget that. Geez. So, I mean, basically you gotta be able to put in time everywhere, and you can see a young man's able to do so.
Can you imagine if we had to do this show and then go do a different kind of show, and then also be a hardworking college student, and then also the time management? I can't do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, you're a college student, so you're sitting there like, yeah, so what?
Yeah, I'm over here drowning a little bit and stuff. Yeah, but you know what? You gotta earn your floaties, I guess, as they say in this world. So to be able to swim, it's a sink or swim world out there. You get thrown into the water, you got to be able to swim.
Can we make that a Running Point shirt? Earn your floaties.
Earn your floaties. You got it. You have to earn your floaties out here.
With some orange sleeves, earn your floaties.
Could have went with more traditional instead of earn your life jacket. No, we went with floaties on that one.
Floaties are cool. Don't let people get you wrong. No, never make fun of someone in floaties. They know how to rock. Man, we are so off track. Look at what you did, Ty. I'm blaming you for everything, by the way.
Oh, that's my fault now.
Yep, everything is. Destroy your life.
Yep. As well, we'll see though. Scotty will probably be blaming me here in about a half hour.
Scotty's fired up because him and DJ were having a very heated discussion this morning.
Oh, because Pittsburgh lost and Cleveland didn't.
So Scotty's feeling a little bullish today.
He's feeling a little dangerous right now. Let's give him what he wants. He wants us to say he's feeling dangerous now.
He's feeling a little Darkwing Duck.
Well, I'll let you know, Scotty. You can feel as dangerous as you want. You step into my yard, which is this square right here. It's gonna be a whole different animal that you're dealing with, Scotty. So I'm telling you right now, as dangerous as you might feel, you haven't come into the Alpha Predators box yet.
Don't step into my dojo.
Yeah.
With that attitude, son.
This is my yard. And that's all there is to it, Scotty.
This is my dojo. Oh, man. He's also wearing a headband, too. So he's
ready. He's ready.
The dojo analogy kind of fits a little bit. We'll see if he comes. We'll see if he comes in and bows.
Hitting the bag a little bit, taking shots before he came here. He was ready.
Taking trivia shots.
He was getting the bag, asking questions.
5-parters.
Yeah, there you go. That's him. I'm ready for it though. Excited. 24 minutes. 24 minutes.
That's coming up at 1. Before we have that, we'll have head coach of the West Branch Volleyball Team, Penny DeShields, joining us. And we're going to take our first break of the day. That'll be on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Running Point brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
New things happen all day. Some are good, some not so good. In today's complicated world, while you're busy working, playing, and living life, we're busy helping you make sense of the day's news. And there's only one place where it comes together with clarity, context, and accountability. It's 21 News at 6 with me, Madison Tromler, and Derek Steyer.
21 News at 6. It's what the day's news really means to you.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, shop with confidence knowing we're ready to go the extra mile for you. With the largest selection of used vehicles in the Valley, backed by the Greenwood Advantage Warranty. Every one of our vehicles has undergone our own 126-point inspection, so it passes the most important inspection, yours. No other dealership has the extra inventory, gives you extra for your trade, and goes the extra mile for you. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
Coca's Pizza, always supporting our community and our local athletes. Stop in on game day or score big and have it delivered right to your door. Check out our daily specials at cocaspizza.com. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
At Hubbard Chevrolet, Hubbard can help you get the financing you need, regardless of your situation. I'm Tony Page, and I've helped thousands of customers in Northeast Ohio and Western Pennsylvania buy a vehicle. Visit HubbardChevy.com to get pre-approved. Remember, folks, Hubbard can help.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Mr. Ty Bartell as we continue on this Wednesday. We are patiently awaiting Penny DeShields, head coach of the West Branch Volleyball Team, who is sitting on the year with one loss to their credit, and it was to Marlington. And Penny DeShields has her 300th career win. 2 weeks ago now, now a little bit over 300, of course. They continue to roll through the season. Ty, what kind of things, we've talked about West Branch all year. We've talked about their football team. We've talked about their volleyball team. We've even talked to their girls soccer coach. What kind of things are you looking forward to this conversation?
Really talking with Penny and getting a little bit inside the Shields household and just see what kind of makes all of them tick a little bit as a very historic family. I think
I want to know what they're putting the tap on it over there.
Yeah, honestly,
because it's just I think it's just a standard of excellence. And speaking of, we're gonna pop her in real quick here as we change that. Penny, we can hear you. We can't see you right now.
Okay, that's fine. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, we're good.
We're good. So as we talk to Penny DeShields, 300th career win not too long ago, run through kind of what that meant to you and what it meant to the program to get that win under your belt.
I mean, it's definitely a milestone in your coaching career, but I really didn't focus on it. Honestly, at the end of last year, my husband and I talked about where I was at career-wise because I've been coaching for quite a while. And he said, you're really close to 300. I really didn't have any idea. That's not something I focus on. My focus is more on building the program. I had a 5-year plan a while ago, and that plan has taken a little longer than I wanted to, but it's still in process, and we've been above 500 and had a winning season for the past, I want to say 4 or 5 years. So we're on that path to getting it where it needs to be.
Coach DeShields, I think there's no doubt, too, what you've done in the sport of volleyball has been absolutely incredible. I had a chance to go see Louisville play the Falcons earlier, and I saw that your name also in the record books there as well. Talk to me a little bit about your time with the Lady Leopards and what you learned from that experience that kind of carried over to West Branch, and how has that time with Louisville made you a better coach now?
Louisville gave me my first head coaching experience at a very young age. I had only coached freshmen here at West Branch under the Sue Dees, who was also my high school coach, and I'm the second coach in the history of West Branch volleyball. Sue Dees was the first, and I'm the second. But my time at Louisville, I was blessed to get that position. I was blessed with numerous athletes. We were in the regionals 3 times. It definitely, I learned a lot. I had to learn a lot on my own at that time because, like I said, I had just been a freshman coach. But it definitely, I thank Louisville today for those 8 years they gave me, and all the girls that I had the pleasure of coaching, and some of those now still coaching. The head coach there now, Alyssa Lanzo, actually played for me. She was on one of our regional teams, and her JV coach, Shelby Hostetler, is also was on one of our regional teams. So I'm still in contact with them, but that definitely made me grow. The things I brought from Louisville to West Branch was the winning mentality. When I came back to West Branch, the program was in a slow decline. So those expectations, those summer workouts, that energy, that passion that I gained from being at Louisville, I definitely brought to West Branch, along with that passion and my steadfast love for West Branch volleyball, having played in the program also.
Let's talk about this team now that you're coaching this year. They're having a very successful season, not an extremely experienced team, just 2 seniors on the squad. Talk about what you've seen from the girls and what are some of the things that have led to the success that you've had this year?
I would, we have, like you said, 2 seniors. Sydney Mercer is definitely a dynamic player. Sydney she'll be a, what do I want to say? I think she's going to be a 4-year letter winner. She didn't start for us as a freshman. She got a little bit of playing time, but from her sophomore year on, she's definitely, she's one of the most competitive girls I've coached in a long time. She reminds me a lot of myself. Every ball that's set to her, she wants a kill. Every serve that she serves, she wants an ace. But I think the biggest reason for our success and her having the ability to do that are the people around her. She has 2 nice middles in Claire Bruner and Olivia Showalter. She has, we moved Michaelin Fitz out to the right side. And this is probably, in my 16 years here, this is probably one of the top 3 passing teams I've had. In volleyball, if you can't pass, your hitters really can't do a whole lot. So I would say our passing, having a plethora of passers, we really don't have a lot of bad passers on the team. So definitely passing has been a positive for us.
Since you brought up Sydney and she's up for Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley, I just want to give you a chance to shout out West Branch Nation and give some reasons why people should go out and vote for her to win Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley this week.
Yes, I actually posted that on my social media too. I was very excited to see her on there. And I will do a little line too. My son is up. Drew DeShields is up on the same ballot for football. So it was kind of easy to support our West Branch athletes. But Sydney is, when you watch her play, it's one of those things Michael Jordan used to say. He had that saying that, every time he steps on the floor, he plays as hard as he can because you never know if that's the only time that person in the stands is going to get to see you play. There's no doubt in my mind Sydney takes that mentality to the floor. And when people leave the gym after they've watched her play, she's the player they are saying, wow, the athleticism, the way she jumps, her hits. I mean, you leave the gym talking about watching Sydney Mercer play volleyball.
Coach, looking at your schedule too, as we wind down towards the end of it too, one of those games that we saw recently that has kind of been a thorn in the side of a lot of YSN teams this year in Marlington. We see them have some big wins over teams such as Hoban, but also handing Fitch their first loss earlier this season. Talk to me a little bit about Marlington, what makes them so tough, and what you're kind of looking for to try to go against them going forward in your career.
Yeah, a lot of respect for the Marlington program. They do one thing that this year, which they've had in the past too, she has a high number of seniors. They have 6 seniors. They tend to stay in the program and those girls come up together. We definitely need to, that was probably, if I look back, definitely one of our worst passing games we've had. We were unable to get the ball to Sydney and our other playmakers in order to keep them off balance. They run a really quick offense, which is really good in their gym. I don't know if you've been in their gym. They have that low ceiling. Our offense is more of a slower tempo, high passes, high sets, and then putting the ball down and not giving the other team a chance. We want to control the tempo, and that's going to be difficult for us to do when we go to Marlington with the environment of the low ceilings. So we're definitely going to have to work on quickening our game up and definitely work on our blocking. We are a better blocking team than we showed that day. So those are a couple things: improving the passing, quickening our offense, and definitely stronger blocking.
Coach, we have to bring up your family and the what they're doing at West Branch right now. You know, Walt doing what he's doing with the women's program, you getting your 300th win. We've all seen what Drew's doing on the football field. What explain to me the dynamic of the home life and maybe what you guys are putting in the water in the DeShields house to have such successful people in it. Just talk about this family dynamic and what it's like.
Well, Drew's the youngest of three. His two older brothers, TJ, who's now at Sul Ross, quarterbacking at Sul Ross State in Texas. Kip, who played at YSU as a pitcher. He spent 2 years in St. Petersburg. I would tell you that if you would come to our house on any given day, we talk sports. It's not just playing sports. It's hard to watch any sport in our house without it being broken down and saying, why is this happening? And it's always critiquing and cutting things up, and it's constant learning. We have a hard time playing cards in our household without arguing because we're all so competitive. It's the passion and love for sports and always getting better and gaining more. But I've always told the boys, all three of them, to always stay humble. I refer to the Bible verse, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but those who are exalted will be humbled. Those who are humbled will be exalted. And that's something I've preached to them, to be great teammates. Walt has too. Sometimes I think we're coaches more than we're parents, and we really have to be careful with that, that we need to be the parents too. But they love the competitiveness, and Drew's definitely blessed with having two older brothers that are very supportive and want the best for him, and he learned from them. They all three grew up in the gym. Kip and TJ were in the gym at Louisville for the 8 years I was there, around sports. It's just something that we love to do, and it's a passion of ours.
I don't think there's any case to looking back at your volleyball team and the success that you guys have had this season, beating some of the area's best this season. But I think some coaches almost like, especially in a case where everyone gets in, when you have a game sort of like Marlington's, where you could find those chinks in your armor before the tournament starts. So looking at what you saw in Marlington, you talked about needing to get the ball to your top kill getters. Is there anything else you really want to see with this team improve upon before the tournament starts?
Definitely. Walt and I use this word a lot. I would like this team to realize the swagger. They're allowed to have swagger. I think they question their ability. They are young. I mean, Adele Peters was our libero from the time she was a freshman. Claire Brunner's played from a young age. They need to value and feel that they are confident, and they're allowed to have a little bit of swagger. They're allowed to be, to have that chip on their shoulder. And I think sometimes they don't realize that as good as they can be, as good as they already are. I don't think anyone expected us to be where we're at this point in the season. But I think last year, I don't know if you guys remember, last year we went up to Mentor Lake Catholic and took a set from them to start. And that was huge for this program. It's been a long time since they've been in the district semis. And they just kind of built from that. But I think I wish that the one thing I want for them is to realize you are good. Put that chip on your shoulder and have a little swagger at the same time, but still stay focused on the goal that we have at hand. And that's, getting better every time we step on the floor.
We were talking about it today because some teams have a week off this week before they get ready for the next game. And volleyball is such a next game sport. You have 3 or 4 games in a week, not a lot of time to get back in the gym and correct things. How do you guys navigate that in a week where you might have 4 games and you don't get a lot of gym time to get back into as a group to correct things, and you have to kind of correct things on the fly?
You have to limit what you're looking at. You can't correct everything, so you got to pick that one or maybe 2 things, and that's what you focus on that next practice. I think sometimes, I know I made that mistake early in my career. I'm like, we make a list of 10 things that we need to work on. Well, that's too overwhelming for the players. And the older I've gotten and the more experience I have, you pick those 2 most impactful things that need to be fixed or corrected or worked on. And that's what you focus on for that time in the gym.
I think as you can speak on this, Coach DeShields, no 2 teams, no matter if they're same players on it or not, seem to be the same from year to year. What is so unique about this West Branch volleyball team?
That's a tough question. That is a hard question. I think I would say their unselfishness. We don't have a deep bench, and we are definitely blessed, and I should knock on wood that we haven't had injuries this year, because I dressed 10 girls, now 11. I brought up a freshman to dress a little bit just to get experience. But we've been blessed with not having any injuries at this point. I think it's their unselfishness to change positions. Like I said, Adele Peters was our libero. She's no longer our libero. She's an outside hitter and plays DS. Michaelan Fitz leaving the middle and going to the right side. Claire Bruner leaving the right side and going to the middle. They've accepted those changes knowing that it's what's best for our team this year. That could change next year. They may be in a different position. So I definitely would say, I think the uniqueness of not saying, well, I don't want to play there. I'm a middle or I'm an outside. They've taken the new roles, embraced them, and work to get better at it every day.
Before we let you go, I do just want to give you the time to shout out the staff that you have and the people that work for you under the program and all the people that kind of make West Branch Volleyball what it is, because we know as much as coaches get the limelight, you have a lot of people helping you.
Yeah. My assistant coach this year is Alyssa Lanzo, which she's Strube now. She just got married in August. She's been with me for 5 years. She was our JV coach. I actually have a brand new JV coach, Cameron Butcher. This is her first year. She coaches basketball at Fairless. My middle school staff has been up and down, but the one consistent person has been Sis Woods, who is a name at West Branch that everybody knows. Sis actually coached me when I was in high school, and she does a great job with our young players. But I can't forget our athletic department. I can't forget, this is my first year I took on I'm now the assistant principal at the high school. So the support of Mr. Coffey in the front office and the secretaries, Diane and Corey, and of my family. I mean, without Walt being there, and we do a lot of talking and he's very supportive. I can't forget, I mean, he's pretty much my mainstay behind me all the time. And then of course my boys, the boys give me, when they come watch, they tell me what they think of the game and who needs to be doing what. So they're definitely important to the program too. And then all the support staff. We have a clock person. I have Mr. Showalter does our clock. Miss Woods does Tiffany Woods does our book. And the parents, they work the concession stand. Without everybody, the program wouldn't be where it's at. And we wouldn't be able to sustain this, the high standard of play we have.
You talk about this community support and you talk about everything that West Branch has been able to do for not only you, but your entire family. My final question for you today, Coach DeShields, is it's really simple. You've been there 300 plus wins, hopefully many, many more to come as well. But what has been your favorite thing about not only coaching West Branch volleyball, but being part of the West Branch community?
And that's another tough question. There's so many things. It would be hard to say one. I grew up down the street from West Branch High School. I've been here since kindergarten, and I had an opportunity, actually almost left this year, to go be an assistant principal at Niles in the middle school. And God answered a prayer or something. I guess he knew I should be here. But I just think that just the overall, the love, like this is what I know, this is what I love. I'm not sure, even when I was at Louisville, and I learned so much. I think every coach should coach someplace else. I really do, that the things you learn from other places, and to know that I think it's just something about West Branch, that small town community support, the good, wholesome girls. I'm sure all programs have them. I just haven't been to all those programs. So I just think it's not so much, it's just the people, the love of the community. I know it's everywhere. So I don't want to say that West Branch, it isn't anywhere else, because it is. I look at a lot of successful programs and a lot of successful communities that do the same thing for their sports. I'm just blessed to be in the position I'm in right now at West Branch.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Obviously, we know how busy your schedule is. We appreciate the time, and we look forward to talking to you again and seeing much more success out of this program.
Thank you for having me. You guys have a great rest of the day.
That was West Branch head coach Penny DeShields of the volleyball program joining us on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Ty, just a quick talk with Penny DeShields, and you understand what that DeShields family is all about real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you want to just sum up her can't finding her words with that last question. And it's kind of a question I like to ask some coaches, because it seems like such a simple question, but it's one that it's hard to find your favorite thing. But I mean, to kind of try to find the words, I guess, for Coach DeShields. And of course, I don't want to put words in her mouth, and I don't want to, because we had her on, but I mean, it just seems like it's a feeling of she's home. when she's with West Branch. And it's just it's not necessarily that other programs don't have the same success, other programs don't have the same girls, other programs don't have the same people behind it, but you just can't replace the feeling of being home. And I think that might be the case we see with Coach DeShields and the West Branch Warriors.
Doing all that while being the assistant principal, it's just,
I mean, hats off to her, and I mean, hats off to that whole family. I mean, West Branch should enact a statue of the DeShields family and in front of the school for everything that they've been able to do for
I still want to get like a roundtable discussion with that family, maybe a card game.
Yeah. Oh my God, I don't think you want to play a card game with them.
little game of Uno with the DeShields. Drop.
Jeez,
oh no.
Jeez, oh man. Hey, West Branch, you show up, you vote Drew DeShields on. We'll get him on Running Point. Him on Running Point.
Hey, you know what? If you vote Drew and Sydney, then we'll have a West Branch.
There you go. What?
The show next week with Drew and Sydney. So
a West Branch homecoming.
Right. Speaking of homecoming, Howland is still looking for an opponent, but remember that is their homecoming night. So they really want a home game. And that's one of the snags that they're trying to find. I know a couple opponents also have open dates or also homecoming. Something they're not talking about. This is like homecoming week for a lot of teams. A lot of teams want home games.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have to see what happened. Howland, obviously, you want to see him get a game too, especially on homecoming night for their school and their program. You definitely want to see him get one.
You know who else we like seeing, and he's popping in the studio, coming in with a little bit of swag that Coach DeShields was talking about. It's Mr. Scotty Mincher with the headband, rocking it. Scotty, how we doing today?
I'm doing good. I figure at some point I got to get a new streak going against Ty. And, I got to strike while the iron's hot. The Browns are 2-1 after a demoralizing loss to your Kansas
Don't talk
City.
to me about demoralizing. You haven't seen demoralizing. 4 turnovers in one day from the offense. It's prolific. That's demoralizing. Okay, I'll regress.
But what I was going to say, I do want to get into some NFL, but I thought I'd bring the swag today in here because I'm feeling good, and I think
you're coming into Ty's dojo with a headband. You're ready to go.
Coming with fire. I think today's the day I start a new streak against Mr. Bartel.
A new streak? You haven't had a streak yet.
He's going for a streak. He's looking good in his Browns gear. I'm just glad he looks good while I get another win over him.
I don't know, Ty. Look good, feel good, ask questions good. It might be a scary night for you.
Yeah, maybe. We'll have to see. What'd you bring to the table for us today, though, Scotty?
Let's bring in Scotty's topics of the day. What do you got?
Yeah, I just wanted from you guys. I mean, I haven't got to check out every game over the last few weeks, but I checked out quite a bit of the audible call.
That's right.
When it comes to high school football. And I just wanted from you guys, now that we've seen teams through 6 games now in the season, and I just wanted from you guys your thoughts on a team that's really looking good right now that you think maybe, they're playing a little bit above their heads, a couple of teams where you think it's a little bit of fool's gold. And then on the other side of the coin, I want some teams that from you guys that have played kind of up and down, but you think are really going to kick it into another gear and start playing really good football with a few games that go in the regular season.
See, Ty, it's not just the trivia questions where we have these essay type questions, because let me get out my pencil real quick.
I always come loaded.
We love it, though, Scotty. We love the discussions.
I probably prepare a little too much for this show.
Never prepare too much for Running Point. So the first question was what teams we think are really looking good right now, right? Like
looking good, but that might be more of a fool's gold kind of.
I thought this was a 3-point. I thought he asked like which teams are good, which teams looking good, maybe not, and then which teams are up and down. But
it might have been 3-part. It might have been 3-part. I might have just heard the 2 parts.
Scotty, clarification.
It was a 3-part.
3.
Okay, so it's who looks good, fool's gold, and guys that are kind of treading water that we think might turn it up the second half of the season. You want me going first on this one?
I'll go first because I know I'm not going to be talking a lot during the trivia questions, so I got to get my words in.
Yeah, go on. Yeah, more than welcome.
As far as teams that are looking to, it's Hubbard at South Range. They're on a collision course. Everybody knows that. Week 10 will tell a lot about which team. Well, actually, it won't because both teams will probably make deep playoff runs no matter how that game goes. I think Springfield, obviously, after that first 2 weeks that they were trying to figure things out, they look like they're rolling. And I'm not sleeping on JFK making a deep playoff run. I'm telling you, they're ready for Division 7 with that schedule they put together. And then, of course, Ursuline. I would say those are my 4 that really I have a big chance to make deep tournament playoff runs. South Range, Hubbard, Springfield, Ursuline, JFK. I should say 5. I lost count. That's embarrassing. 5 teams that I think can make really deep playoff runs. Talking like getting into the state semifinal, stuff like that.
Just real quick, Anthony, before we get to Ty, I'm not going to get to every team you mentioned there, but I will get to a team that was a big rival of mine when I was in high school, and that is Springfield. Do you believe they have now shown that they could be better than they were than even last year or these last 2 years? Or do you think it's about the same and it's going to really come down to just finishing the job now with this team?
We said it with Penny DeShields, actually. This is one of our questions. Every team is different. I don't want to say this team is better than last year's team. I don't want to say last year's team was better than this team. They're just different. I think they found their identity after week 2. And now they're a different team with a little bit of a different identity. But they're still just as dynamic and strong. So they look a little different. They play a little different style. They're maybe running a little bit of a different offense and a different defense. But at the same time, they're looking just as strong. That's a testament to Coach Guerrero to being able to adjust to the players that he has and not try to fit a square box into a round hole by trying to make guys fit his philosophy. He just adjusts to the personnel that he has, and he's done that really well this year. Ty, I'll let you go about Springfield.
Yeah, and you know what? Springfield's one of those teams too. Yeah, we knew they were going to adjust. We knew they had a team to adjust, and I think that's exactly what you're seeing. As after the first couple weeks of trying to figure out everything, they got everything figured out now, and I think they're as dangerous as ever.
I'll be interested to see when they run up against a really high quality team in the playoffs. Where that's when we'll really see the growth from week 2 to now.
Yeah.
And then, Ty, if you forgot, just to refresh your memory.
Oh, man.
What's another team aside from Springfield that you think is looking really good right now? A team that's playing well, but you think is maybe it's a little bit of fool's gold, and then a team that has kind of treaded water maybe and can really turn it on.
I only got through one part of the 3-part question, and he's already going to Ty. I say Scotty. Whatever. I'm just messing with you.
Anthony likes going off on a tangent, though, Scotty. We're not blaming you.
No, wait a minute.
Anthony's the tangent one on this show. It's not me.
Oh, whatever. Ty.
You could finish.
No.
But we could go back and forth with this, and I'll stick with a team that I think is going to be competitive. I'll let you go first, then on one that you think is kind of treading water, then too, and then we could go back and forth. For me, I'll stick with one team though for each category. And for me, I'm going to go West Branch for the team that's looking good, and I think is going to continue to look good. I think you got a big matchup with Carrollton this week that's going to test them a lot, but I think they've showed against Canton South, against Howland, that they could put up points, but they could also win those close games. And I think West Branch last year wasn't being talked about a whole lot. They thought with Brock Hillier leaving, putting Drew DeShields in that spot of quarterback, you'd get a step back, and maybe West Branch isn't as competitive. They look as good as ever, and they look to be on a collision course with another team that wears green in Division 4, I think, in this region.
Yeah, and I want to change the wording of Scotty's second question, because I think what we're looking for here is teams that are having a really good season, but still have a little bit more to prove, maybe.
Something like that, yeah. Maybe strength of schedule isn't it's not as telling as the record might show.
Right. And that way we're not taking away from what they're doing. We're not saying they're not a good team. It's just like, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
They got some quality opponents coming up on their schedule that we want to see them go up against.
Do you want me to go first on this
I
one?
think it's Salem, because they still have Carrollton, Canton South, and West Branch still on their schedule. I would love to see Salem go up against those three and really prove to everyone, and they have a lot to prove that they are the real deal. I think they'll have a good chance to do it.
Yeah, and that's going to be three tough opponents back to back for them. But I mean, it's going to be curious to see what Salem's able to do to make those adjustments. They look way more focused now after that Minerva game now, and they got a little bit of their frustrations out from the week prior to Alliance. For me, I'll take a little bit of a trip into the EOAC realm, and I'm going to say United. United looking 5-1 this season, looking really good. But you look at their strength of schedule. Really, the only notable win that I have for them is that game against Crestview, 28-21, where they looked really good. They were able to play that team football like they've been playing all season. I don't want to discredit this at all, because United has been doing nothing short of impressing me with their team football. But the one game that I wish didn't get canceled was the game with Valley Christian, because that was the game where I feel like we would have gotten to really see what United has to offer and what they have to offer in the EOAC. Losing that game with Valley Christian, now you have wins over a Latonia team that didn't get their first game in for weeks. You have a win over an East Canton team, which is respectable, Crestview, which is respectable, but Minerva 0-6, Columbiana not having a season like they'd hope right now. So, I mean, your schedule 5-1 right now, looking like you played some tougher opponents, but East Canton was the one of those losses, that 2-2 opponent. I just want to see a little bit more from United. Thankfully, though, they have an opportunity coming up end of the season with Southern, but their next three games, East Palestine, Wellsville, Lisbon, three programs that are still trying to kind of find their footing. Wellsville is going to be an interesting matchup, yeah. But two programs, I should say, that are trying to find their footing. Wellsville is going to be interesting, and of course, that Southern matchup is going to be big. But I want to see what United has to offer against teams that have a little bit better record and come in a little bit stronger, because they play a very good team football. I want to see it go transcend amongst other teams.
And now, do you want to go teams their records don't tell the whole story?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's fair.
I'll just stick with one team. I think it's Boardman. They're 4-2, but they've lost to Massillon, Washington, and Benedictine, and they've been competitive in both those games. I don't think Boardman's record really showed. I think they could, if they had any schedule that was even slightly easier, they'd be 6-0 right now. I think Boardman's a very good team, a very respectable team, and they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so as well. And, Boardman's one of those teams that, I mean, they look good each and every week. Their defense always looks good. So I'm curious to see what Boardman is going to be able to do going forward. And, I mean, one of those teams that are just treading water. I mean, you kind of could cheat and say JFK with a 4-2 record and being 11 seed, you can, but I'll go a different route on this one. And I'll go a different route than my Falcons as well. I'll go a different route than Austintown and be predictable. I'll actually go and say Western Reserve on this one. Western Reserve 3-3 on the season. You look at 3 straight wins on the season now, 3 in a row. So they brought their record back up to 3-3. They're a team that hasn't allowed more than 8 points in these last 3 games defensively, including 2 shutouts. So that shows you exactly what their defenses are. And listen to their 3 losses: Brookfield, Liberty, JFK. Liberty game was a big week 1 game where Liberty had a lot of momentum. They were bringing a lot of nostalgia back into the stadium, but against a very tough Brookfield team that has 1 loss on the year and a very possible state Division 7 state championship candidate in JFK. So you look at their losses and it doesn't look that bad. And you look at the remaining schedule: Lowville, McDonald, Springfield, Sebring. McDonald game, canceled. So McDonald game canceled 2 weeks out. My apologies. So Lowville, Springfield, and Sebring with another game pending. You got 2 very tough opponents, one in D7 in Lowville, one in D6 in Springfield still. Let's see what Western Reserve has to offer. But I think with David Altier and everything, they're starting to trend up and they're looking really good.
And now they picked up that Lowville game. I mean, they're going to play Lowville this week, so that's going to The defense versus that offense, something's got to give.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, Sebring being moved to week 10 now, so that'll be interesting, and we'll just have to see if they schedule another game in there. I think it would definitely do them better if they get a 10th game under their schedule and they do play a full 10. But Western Reserve, one of those teams I think is trending up right now.
Scotty, what do you? Let's let you get into this conversation a little bit and get your thoughts on the question that you asked yourself.
Yeah, I think as far as a team that I'm still just because it's not that they lost to the Springfield Tigers, it's the way they lost. I'm very curious as to how Louisville finishes out this season. I think they've had a good year, but the last really outstanding year and one of the first years I really started watching high school football in 2002. That was a sensational regular season they had that year where they went undefeated, got to the second round of the playoffs. I think this team has a lot of potential, and on paper they look pretty good, but we know that games aren't played on paper, so they got to go out and finish strong here. So they've looked good. I do think there's room for improvement for Louisville, though, in particular on the defensive side of the ball. I'd like to see them get a little more pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. And then as far as the other schools in the area, I really have to agree. Anthony, you've talked about West Branch a little while ago, and I have to totally agree with you there, buddy, that I think the best has yet to come, and they're just scratching the surface. And another team that's good, but and they've been good, but they're coming off a crushing blow, and I still think they have a lot of potential, and I want to see how they respond. And that team is the Austintown Fitch Falcons. So those are three teams right there. And I'm biased when it comes to Louisville, so that was an easy one. I'm always going to be a little more critical of them. I'm a fan, but I watch them the closest, so I'm always going to be a little more critical. West Branch and Fitch, I think they both have, they have the upside, even more than my Rockets for the teams and the schedules that they play. But I just want to see how Fitch rebounds after the tough loss last week.
That's fair. And Ty, you get to cover Fitch. I mean, they got a rebound. And then no other way to say it. They got a rebound.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, not going to be able with the call today. I'm going to have to give that baton to my good friend. I believe it's Richie Giuliano that will be there with Canfield this week. But you look at Fitch's 3 of their next 4 matchups. I mean, you're looking at a Wadsworth team that's going to be it's going to be tough, but they're struggling this year at 1-5. But you're looking at a Canfield team 5-1, a Boardman team 4-2. And a Warren Harding team that's 2-4, but a sneaky 2-4 because that record does not speak for how good the Raiders actually are this year. So a very tough last 4 games of the schedule. It will definitely be interesting to see how Fitch responds after I think it was, and I mean, I'll be quite frank about it. I think it was the worst we've seen the offense play for the Falcons. And that's saying a lot considering that they almost won that game. And I'm talking about the worst, I think, special teams and offensive performance we've seen as far as from a turnovers and not being as sharp, not being as focused. But like I said before, that's not something that I don't think the Falcons can remedy. It's pretty easy, I think, to just get refocused for the next one. And I think it's definitely just some conversations Coach Parker needs to have with his guys. But I think the Fitch Falcons will be fine come the end of the season.
All right, Scotty, what else you got?
Just two quick things, and these things are for both of you guys before I get into trying to stump Ty. We'll leave about 7 or 8 minutes for trying to stump Ty. But two quick things with you, Anthony. I think it's silly to ask you if you're panicking that the Chiefs have started 1-2, because come on, it's still the Chiefs. They've gotten to 2 straight Super Bowls, won it a couple years ago. So until somebody knocks them off, you have to wait and let the season play out. Also, they've had the lead in all 3 games. Are you at all concerned that the Chiefs can't be in any way what you thought they would be before the season? Is there any area that concerns you, and how much will the signing of Josh Gordon help your Chiefs, if at all?
Oh, geez, Josh Gordon. Well, one, I just read today that he is probably going to sign with our practice squad for the time being. So
He's also going to sign a 450-yard and 12-catch minimum before he gets suspended again.
Right. I mean,
but go on.
That's the thing about Josh Gordon. It's like, is he out of his obviously the mental troubles that he's been having? Obviously, I don't know. I'm not panicking. It sucks to be 1-2 and lose the way we've lost. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, everything is roses and I'm feeling good. I mean, when you turn the ball over six times in 2 games, that's obviously a problem spot. You look at things and say, Patrick Mahomes has had the ball in his hand twice in a row with what could have been game-winning drives, and he's thrown an interception in both times. And you got to look and be like, well, he was just doing what Patrick Mahomes usually does, and it 9 times out of 10 works out as a really big play. And the last 2 weeks, it just hasn't. So do you just swallow those interceptions and say it's just Mahomes being Mahomes, or do you start to say, is Mahomes starting to get that Brett Favre kind of mentality where he'll just do anything? He doesn't even care if the ball gets picked or not. I don't think he'll get into that mentality. But it is something that you kind of look at. With someone with such arm talent, you just don't want him to fall into that trap of always just kind of chucking the ball and hope. Like, I saw the meme after week 1 when he threw that ball to Tyreek Hill. The meme was, F it, Tyreek Hill's down there somewhere. And hopefully he doesn't, get into that mentality where he's just going to chuck it deep every time and just be like, I hope someone's down there to catch the ball. I don't think that was what was going on in that Browns play. You look at the scheme play, they ran a play to get Tyreek Hill single covered with the safety, so he knew that he's going to throw the ball down there with his best receiver against the safety. But at the same time, that pick against the Chargers, I think, was just throwing it and hoping Travis Kelce makes a play. And Travis Kelce didn't run the way that Mahomes thought he would. So 6 turnovers in 2 games sucks. But, I think Chiefs are going to be fine because that's not going to continue.
Yes or no question, and then I'll get to Ty. Do you think Kansas City's defense is worse than it's been the last 2 seasons?
I think the defense, the last game and the Chargers game are getting kind of bad raps because remember the Ravens game, they had 2 picks, and then they stopped the Ravens in a big point of the game when the Chiefs had a 35-24 lead, gave the ball back to Mahomes. If the Chiefs score there and make it 42-24, Lamar Jackson can't run anymore. He has to throw the ball to win that game in the 4th quarter. When you're down by 18, you got to throw the ball. They had already picked them off 3 times. I feel like the defense set the Chiefs up to win that game, and the offense kind of in that big drive failed. Now the rest of the game, the defense had chances to hold the Ravens and didn't. But the defense has always been a defense for the Chiefs that is not going to be great the whole game, but is going to make big plays. They have big playmakers. They have Frank Clark. They have Dan Sorensen, Tyrann Mathieu. They have players that make big plays in big situations. That's what it's always going to be. And it looks like they're that this year, even the Chargers game. I mean, they held them down at 14 while our offense woke up and took the 17-14 lead. And then, Mahomes has the ball with 2 minutes left. 9 times out of 10, that's a game-winning drive. He throws a pick. I mean, what can you do?
And then moving on, getting to Ty, just really quickly here. Ty, you're a Patriots fan. As we all know, Tom Brady makes his return to Foxborough as for the first time as an opponent. Ty, I know that you're going to say, or at least I would assume, and I think many fans are going to be this way. I think he's going to get a pretty big ovation, and there's going to be a lot of cheering because, I mean, the man went and won 6 Super Bowls for the franchise. But is there any part of you, Ty, that's, holds any sort of bitterness or resentment, animosity toward Brady because he left? Is there any of that in there, or is it all, just joy and appreciation? And then number 2, really quickly, do you think Brady and Belichick hug or embrace at all after or before the game?
I think if you see Bill Belichick come out to hug anybody after the game, I think that'd be surprising too, especially if the Patriots are on the losing end. But we'll see. To answer that question real quickly, no, I don't have any animosity towards Tom Brady. I still think Tom Brady is no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because I feel like everything was mutual. And am I pissed that we didn't re-sign him? Because I feel like he should have retired a Patriot. Yes, I do feel like he should have retired a Patriot. But the organization also looking at his age, how many quarterbacks are really going to play past their 40s? I think we realize now after he won a Super Bowl, Tom Brady will tell you he's retiring when he's ready to retire. You're not going to kind of guide him to the retirement bench. But, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy with what we did. I'm happy we got another young quarterback and Mac Jones in there. I have no animosity, though, towards Brady because how can you? The dude's just absolutely stellar. I mean, and with the addition of Richard Sherman now, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are definitely going to be one of those teams you're talking about at the big show at the end of the year again. So let's see what happens. We'll see if it was the system or the quarterback, even though the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think, have a little bit better of a team coming into Foxborough. But I think this is definitely going to be a fun game.
It's going to be a fun one for sure. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with Scotty's 10 minutes to try to stump Ty next on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin, Texas.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and 2 of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We are an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
Your teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times, but because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
It's storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air,
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
online,
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
on social media, and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
A severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on a Wednesday edition, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell and Mr. Scotty Mincher. Don't know what that was, but I believe it was on Ty's side. Ty, was that you rocking out to some music?
It was me. We had it was a post from YSN. It's that signature music by telling us that someone is live too, which I mean, I guess that's a perfect segue too, as Badger has joined the YSN Live family. So I was just checking that out on our breaks too from YSN Live's Facebook page, as well as you could tune into any of our other social media handles on Twitter, on Twitch, as well as YouTube, as well as our live ysnlive.com site to get all the stories and news on local sports in the Valley.
Badger Braves joining the fray on ysnlive.com. We're happy to have them. And we can't wait to get down to Badger for some basketball games in the winter. Scotty, it's your moment to shine, buddy, because you got some time to try to stump Ty. And Ty's ready for you. He's been chucking out some trash talk. So, Scotty, I'll let you go. What's the first question today?
Yeah, I'm gonna change things up a little bit here, Ty, and see if I can get you early for once in today's show. So here we go. Ty, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Detroit Red Wings, they're two of the original 6 NHL franchises. In what year were they both founded?
Well, the 6 teams that I remember.
So Scotty's coming
Detroit,
in hockey.
Montreal, New York, Toronto, Boston, and Chicago. I think were the original 6. And I think the original 6, because it was all mostly Northeast and Midwest United States that it took place in. I want to say what? Now, wait a minute. You said what year did Detroit and Chicago join the NHL?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
What year? They both joined the same year. What year was it?
Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to think because they came out after I think the NHL was founded. And there was, I think it was in 1926, I think. There it is. I got the head tilt. That's it. That's one.
26.
Well, let's see if you can get this one.
Oh, I'm scared because that one was hard. That one was pretty hard.
Sticking with the NHL and the Red Wings here, I want to know if you could get this one. What were the Red Wings called from 1926 until 1930 when they eventually got the name permanently as the Red Wings? What was their team name before 1930?
I know I always have a story about this one.
He knows it. You're screwed.
As much as I love, and I do, I love my wife to death. This one actually comes from an ex that I had, and her father was a big Red Wings fan, actually.
How you do?
And it was the Detroit Cougars until 1930.
Oh man,
was a big Red Wings fan because the Red Wings always beat the Penguins was the reasoning. So the Red Wings were the team that could beat Pittsburgh, so was a big Red Wings fan because of it. Columbus obviously hadn't existed back then.
Scotty, you didn't know that he had a closeted past with a huge Detroit Red Wings fan. I mean, how could you know that? Sorry. You got hosed. You got hosed.
I did get hosed. I got punked like that old Ashton Kutcher show. I guess switching gears, gonna continue with baseball, Ty, and I know you're pretty good with the history of the Indians, but I dug pretty deep for this one, so I want to see if you could get this one, Ty. And it's a three-part question here. Who was the first Cleveland baseball pitcher to throw a no-hitter? On what day and year did it happen? And what team did he throw it for?
You mean against, right? Because he threw it for Cleveland.
He threw it for Cleveland, but what was the team name?
So he's not asking who he threw it against. Who were the Cleveland baseball team back then? When did he throw it?
No, what was their name when he threw the no-hitter?
So just to recap, who is he? What was the exact date he threw it? And what was the Cleveland baseball team called at the time that he threw it?
Damn. All right, Scotty. Well, for me to think about this, I got to think about how far Cleveland's baseball team goes back. And you know what? I remember, and I don't know if you remember this. I don't think this is the answer, but I think the answer was in it. Do you remember watching that special on when it was Fox Sports Time Ohio when they did that whole special on Addie Joss? I don't know if you saw it.
I vaguely do remember that.
I remember
don't
that.
remember everything about it.
I
but
remember
do
watching that on Addy Joss, and I remember him saying, and I remember it was Matt Underwood that commentated it. By the way, he was the one that talked over it, so he was the guy that did the documentary, and it was on Addy Joss, and they talked about Addy Joss and how great he was for Cleveland. But I think he threw a no-hitter in the same season. Well, because I feel like there was one that was disputed, but if we don't go no disputed, if it was truly a no-hitter, the only one I remember was before Addy Joss was Bob Rhodes. It was
before you go on, is Bob Rhodes correct?
Bob Rhodes is correct.
That's one part.
Now, what else did you want, Scotty?
Exact date he threw.
Oh boy,
the
exact date might slip me up.
What team it was on?
He did it against the Red Sox. I know he did it against the Red Sox.
Scotty wants to know what the Cleveland baseball team was called.
Cleveland, well, Addy Joss threw his no-hitter in 1908. And I know the first one came in the same year. I'm trying to think of the date before it. Cleveland, though, at the time in 1908, what was their team name? Because they were the Naps, they were the Blues. Who was their name in 1908? I'm trying to think of how the order went and what they were named before it. And I feel like in 08, they were the Naps at the time. And I don't know if it was before or after that was the Blues, but I feel like from that 19 to 1910s, I think it was up until 1914 or maybe 1911, they were the Naps. But I think it was the Cleveland Naps at the time.
Is the Cleveland Naps correct?
You got that one.
I don't know about this date, though, Scotty. I'm not sure about this date. I'm going to have to throw out a random one.
If
you only have a 1 in 365.
If you get this date, Ty, I think I'm just rolling on.
He says, "I'm turn around."
I'm gonna say. So if I'm gonna give my most educated guess, and if you want me to show my work, I know that Addy Joss threw his no-hitter in October because I'm pretty sure it was a playoff game that he threw it, so it definitely came before it. And I feel like it came before the end of the regular season, and I can't remember the exact date it might have been, but it happened just before Addy Joss's because it was the second no-hitter in a couple weeks, September 20th, 1908.
Well, I finally got
Wait a minute.
He
Scotty,
got me on one.
He
got me on one.
What's the date?
You just by a hair.
What's
got
the date?
you.
What's the date?
September 18th.
We're not.
Damn it. Oh my God, I was so close.
Wait a minute. I know Ty's standard is high, but he got the player, he got the name, and he was 2 days off.
I mean, we could give it to Scotty though, because I did say get obscure with it. I'll be exact with dates. I'll be fair.
You told me to get obscure.
I did.
Yeah, and I've been exact with every other date before. We didn't establish any leeway.
I told you to get sadistic with these questions.
I get 2 wins off of that, though. We divide that up into 3 wins. I get 2 points for that. Scotty gets 1, but I'll give Scotty 1 over me.
If we're doing that, it's 18-3.
That's fine. That's fine. That was a good one, Scotty, because I really could not remember the date. I knew it was before Joss's, and I thought it was pretty close, but I could not think of the exact date on that one.
Scotty, let me tap in. I got one. Let me tap.
Oh boy.
Mind if I tap in,
trying to get 4 on me now.
It's your show, buddy. I'm just
because it's part of it. It's your trivia question, so it will count against the score. But I think I can help you out a little bit, and if I can't, then I'll apologize sincerely.
As reaching for the ropes and Scotty tags in the Macho Man Anthony Savage.
Are we tapping?
Yep, we're tapping.
Okay. Because Scotty gets to ask about his favorite teams a lot, so I want to see if Ty knows my favorite teams a little bit. All right, so I'm going to ask you a Georgia Tech question, Ty. Before every football game at home, Georgia Tech roused out the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech to lead out the team. What year, make, and model is the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech?
That's a good question, Anthony. That's a real good question. It's a Ford Model T, though. It's a Ford Model T. What else did you want to know about it?
The year, make, and model.
Yeah, so it's a Ford Model T. What year would that have been? It's an old school one. It's an old school one. When did the Model T actually come out? Now I gotta think about that. When did the
Scotty, I think I helped you out, man.
I feel like it was in 1908 the Ford Model T came out, but I don't think they started using it till 1916, I think. I think it's a 1916 Ford Model T.
Ty, you are completely wrong in every way possible.
Oh, am I?
Georgia Tech's Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech is a 1930 Ford Model A Sports Coupe.
That's unfortunate. I feel like the original one might have been a Model T then. Was it a Model T at any point?
Nope.
Huh. I wonder what it was then. Because I really thought it was I thought the first one might have been a Model T. Okay. Nice one. Good job.
You're welcome, Scotty. 18-4. Do you have another one? Because we have about 5 minutes.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I do have another. I have a couple if we could get to in quickly. So here you go, Ty. Sticking with, or I should say, going back to baseball after that Ramblin' Wreck question that Anthony helped me out with. I wanted to know who is the all-time winningest non-American pitcher in the history of Major League Baseball.
There's a few that come to mind right off the rip. Where they were from. I'm trying to think of.
Watch, he's going to hit you with who they were, what country they hailed from, and their mother's maiden name.
Well, because like there's certain ones that come to mind right off the rip. I know stories came out. Bartolo Colon's the winningest Latin American pitcher, and that could be. Also, I don't remember how many wins did Pedro Martinez have too. I feel like I know. Back just a couple years ago, I remember Bartolo Colon had the most victories as a Latin American-born pitcher. That's the only thing that comes to mind right now because he had a bunch and he played for a ton of years. And I don't know who else would have had more wins in the MLB. How many did Bartolo have, though, over the years? And did he have more or less than some of these other guys? Because like Cy Young is obviously number one, but I'm trying to think of guys that came after that. For me, I feel like who else would it have been after Bartolo Colon? Because I don't know if Pedro was even above him on that. I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to go with Bartolo Colon because I can't think of anyone else.
Scotty, was it Big Sexy?
I finally
got me on one.
Well,
who was it?
It was not Bartolo Colon. Colon was 247 and 188 in his career, so that was a good guess. But the all-time winningest pitcher, Ferguson, and they called him Fergie
Jenkins. Yep.
He has.
He was North American though, right? He was from up north. I think he was up north. I'm pretty sure he was.
With a name like Ferguson, he might be in Canada.
I think he might have been in Canada, honestly, Anthony. I think you might be right.
He was Canadian.
Oh, he was Canadian, eh?
So yeah. So I got you once today, Ty.
Twice.
Well,
because you got him for the third part of third. Because Ty wanted to count it for a 3. Yep. So it's 18-5.
According to Google, too, the first mechanical wreck was a 1914 Model T Ford owned by Dean Floyd Field. I'm just saying that, too. So I had some basis on why I was thinking Ford Model T.
But that's not the car that brings out the football team.
It was the original. What are we talking about? I won't count it as a point for me. You got me.
I didn't ask what the original one was. I asked, what is it now?
You did. But I still had a basis for why I picked Ford Model T, though. I knew there was a reason why.
Are we, is that it for the day?
It is 18-5. You made a solid comeback, and I think you won the day. I think you got him. We both got him combined 3 times. He only got 2 questions straight.
And I do have, because I was preparing very hard, I do have a couple in the holster for next week. So, Ty, you're a genius, man, but I got you a couple times today.
I'll have to do some more studying up, too. I'm not going to get slipped up by college questions anymore. Because that's 2 now that I got slipped up from college. I haven't been slipped up by 2 in any other category. If we want to count 2 in baseball, you got me technically twice in baseball. But I'm not getting slipped up by college football anymore.
Don't worry, we'll come out with college lacrosse next week, and you'll be slipped up again.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys for letting me be a part of it. As always, love my time being a part of Running Point every Wednesday.
We love having you, Scotty. We love having you. As now, what are we looking at now, Anthony? We're winding down. We got the Casual Sports Podcast coming up. I sit with my head in shame of defeat. I think I'm ready to get to the Casual Sports Podcast.
Don't worry. You're still up 18-5.
Yeah. So you still got a healthy 13.
I try to win every damn day, Scotty. There is no days to be let off. But good job though today. Good job, both of you guys, coming to the table with some good questions.
All right, on the docket, we want to thank Penny DeShields for coming on today. First and foremost, the head coach of the West Branch Volleyball Team. We loved having her on. We love talking to her. And tomorrow we will have 2 guests for you lined up on Thursday's edition of Running Point from 12 to 2. Right off the top of the show at 12 o'clock, we'll be talking to head coach of the Beaver Local Volleyball Team, Sarah Lowe, about her milestone win over the week and the Beaver Local Beavers and what they're putting together this year. We'll also be talking to Phil Simone, the head coach of the Canfield girls soccer team. They won the AAC on Monday with a win over Howland, so they are AAC champs in 2021. We'll talk to him at 1:15 tomorrow. So that'll be a fun show. Don't miss it. On the network tonight, we do have volleyball for you. It is Lisbon at Heartland, and Rick will have the call for that. The slow night for volleyball is the other one in action. Ursuline travels to Jackson Milton. And, of course, we do have Mooney and East Palestine playing in Mooney. So both the Youngstown teams playing tonight, 3 volleyball games happening. But a big night for soccer, and it's all girls. It's girls' night in soccer. Austin Town Fitch going to Cardinal Mooney. We'll have Newton Falls at Champion, Springfield at Waterloo, Valley Christian at Bristol. Brookfield will go to Crestview. Girard goes to Hubbard. Struthers goes to Jefferson. And, of course, South Range will go to Poland. So those are some soccer matches that you can get an eye on tonight. And, by the way, the Storm Tracker 21 forecast for the night, once again, sunny and beautiful. It's going to be 66 at first kick for the soccer game. So soak in those warm days. Get out to support soccer teams, volleyball teams, whatever it may be.
Yeah, absolutely. Season winding down. Playoffs are around the corner. Get out there and support while it's still warm.
Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3, and then from 3 to 4, the boys in the Power Hour will have you wrapping up the evening before some games on the network tonight. So until then, I'm Anthony Hartwig, Ty Bartell. We're taking a 22-hour break. We'll be back with you tomorrow from 12 to 2.